Welcome to Real Rockford Files, for tales of the paranormal, supernatural, and the flat-out unbelievable. Today I'll be sharing Bigfoot stories. Let's get into it. Not quite sure how to type this. I was in the Sierra Range, June 2nd, 2012, around 9 p.m. Stone sober while driving. I saw off to my right, illuminated only for a couple of seconds, as I was towing downhill in a corner turn doing 15 miles per hour, what I believed to fit all descriptions of a Bigfoot. But as I turned the corner, I lost sight. What I saw at the time I had was a half-stride, pause, look, and a turn, and begin to stride away. If it wasn't a Bigfoot, then it was a slim bear striding around on his rear legs, with all the dimensions of Bigfoot. Or maybe a 7-foot-tall, 400-pound ex-football player playing with scaring people, and he got me for a minute or two. In my mind, a lot taller than any man, and his bulk was proportional to the Bigfoot's. No way for it to be anything else. I know my shapes. The area was hilly, located at the end of Highway 168, 4-lane highway next down to 2 lanes. Small plateau type, small meadow. Above roadway elevation is 3,000 or so. I didn't notify any rangers. June 24, 2012. The previous report prompted this response. A woman reported that her daughter's boyfriend had a sighting in the region of Shaver Lake. In part, she reported, he saw the Bigfoot in his headlights, crouched down next to the road. As he hit his brakes and came to almost a full stop, the Bigfoot stood up straight, strolled off, then ran up the hill and into the trees. He had an unobstructed view for about 5 to 10 seconds. He is a mountain resident that has hunted bear and swore unequivocally that this is not a bear or a man in a suit. It was huge, with a huge chest and did not move like a man, and that its strides were very long. I believe that he's telling the truth. He's just not a BS kind of guy that would make this up. His mom reported that he called her almost hysterical over what he saw. Saturday, June 30th, 2012. Carla and Manuel M. filed a report that was not a physical sighting. While honeymooning at a rental cabin on Shaver Lake, California, they heard vocalizations being emitted from one side of the lake to the other. Manny M. wrote what the sounds were: whoops, like whoop, 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 in a series of 3 sets that started on one side of the lake, then a return whoop, whoop, whoop from the other side of the lake. This went on for several hours after midnight, 3 nights in a row. On their last night there, Carla woke Manny up and ushered him out onto their bedroom porch that overlooked the lake. The two of them heard a baby crying that lasted 3 or 4 minutes. The sound was that of an infant, and it was a frantic cry and very loud, echoing across the lake. It also emanated from deep within the forest area on the opposite side of Shaver Lake. As they returned to their bedroom, the whoops started up again. Carla said it was very creepy, and that it prevented them from exploring the rocky terrain and much of the lakefront while they honeymooned there. Wednesday, July 11, 2012. 2 forestry workers for Southern California Edison, the company that owns Shaver Lake, stopped to eat their lunch on the banks of Shaver Lake. As they were getting up to head back to their utility truck, parked on the frontage of Highway 168, they both stopped cold as the reddish-colored Bigfoot walked out of the trees and into the lake. One of the witnesses, who filed the report, said his visual was too quick to accurately judge its height, other than to say it was a purty big fella with a heavy coat of tangled-looking hair all over. He said it surfaced and swam towards the eastern side in what looked like a very strong dog paddle kind of stroke. He was really moving. The 2 men stood there dumbfounded as the Bigfoot swam out of sight. The SCE informant in the above report said that when he mentioned the sighting of his daughter's music teacher, she related another story told to her that took place also at Shaver Lake in 2009. In any case, it was a second-hand report that was told of 3 campers who were driven out of their tents in the middle of the night by a screaming Mimi that unstaked their tents and attempted to drag them off, tent and all, into the night somewhere. They fled for their lives and did report it to the forestry the next day. It was also reported on the internet, not sure where. The informant was asked if he knew what the forestry official did, and he said apparently nothing, and indicated they were either mistaken or it was a bear. The music teacher had said, though, "We know black bears do not behave that way, and we have no grizzlies in California." It leaves one to wonder what there is left in the forest that would rip up tent stakes and heave tents with people inside around the campsites. Bears don't behave that way. Of interest in that story was that the campers kept a high campfire going that night, and that the fire did not deter the attack by the Sasquatches. The music teacher said there was two of them, maybe a third Sasquatch, but nobody stuck around to find out. This isn't the first recording of a campsite attack. The other was in Colorado, in the San Juan Mountains, but around Shaver Lake and nearby communities, everyone has a story to tell about Bigfoot. The cast of Finding Bigfoot television series was in Shaver Lake in March of 2012 interviewing witnesses in a town hall meeting event. At that meeting, Ken Gentry said his group had a huge rock hurled at them from 300 feet away on the top of a ridge and saw it as it was launched. They were hiking near Three Rivers, not far from Shaver Lake area. It was a very large rock. One of the athletic guys on our crew, Billy, picked it up and tried to throw it, but he couldn't throw it 25 feet. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have a hard time believing it actually happened, Gentry said. October 2012. 3 middle-aged men go missing near Shaver Lake region. A backpacker, his car was found near Shaver Lake, and a second hiker went missing in the general area of Sierra National Park, where there were 3 or more separate Bigfoot sightings in the summer of 2012. 2 hikers were found, but Larry Kahn, 53, is still missing as of October 6, 2012. Cliff Barackman described a possible stalking and vocalizations not far, as the Sasquatch travels, from Shaver Lake and the John Muir Wilderness in 2006. Another sighting contains a lengthy bunch of extraneous information about the surroundings and little about 3 large cinnamon brown humanoid figures that move through a stand of spruce trees. The nearest town, Shaver Lake. Shaver Lake's Small Town magazine filed this article written by Jolene Poliak in the summer/fall of 2012. Jolene attended the Shaver Lake Town Hall meeting. Southeast of Shaver Lake is a great deer hunting, according to Bruce Dakova, 51, and his hunting partner Samuel Broderick, 46, from out of state. It is an area south of Huntington Lake, just short of Dinky Creek, off the eastern rim of Shaver Lake. In late 2009, the 2 men went looking for a prime place to set up for the hunting season. In the process, Broderick was taking an armload of firewood to the nearby fire pit when he noticed not 1 but 2 dark figures in the trees. He continued toward the fire ring, dumped the firewood, and put his hand on Dakova's shoulder, whispering to him not to be obvious, but to look in that direction when he could. He whispered that they were being watched by what he thought might be a couple of Bigfoot. Dakova, a veteran trophy hunter, had heard such stories but thought Bigfoot was imagined. He went about setting up their tent and then cleaned off his Ray-Ban sunglasses so he could look around with his eyes, giving him away. Sure enough, there were 2 very tall individuals watching them not 35 feet from where they were staking the tent. The pounding of the stakes echoed in the trees, but there were no other sounds to be heard. The Bigfoot made no noise. Dakova turned at that point and told Broderick that he also could see them and was amazed. To break the tension, Dakova yelled over to Broderick, "Do they understand English?" Broderick broke into a nervous laughter like heh, and began nervously singing the state fight song. Dakova joined in as they edged toward the rifles laying on the ground. For his part, Broderick was admittedly nervous and hurriedly reached down to unzip the cover off his rifle and loaded it just in case the 2 creatures came into camp. Apparently, when Broderick raised up the rifle to load it, both Sasquatch departed. The 2 hunters told me they did not see the creature again or notice anything unusual during the night. There were no screams, no rock throwing, and none of the usual nighttime Bigfoot antics reported by other hunters. The description of the 2 Bigfoot was minimal. They were in the 8-foot range according to the height of the trees where they stood and in dark in color. Otherwise, no additional details were given. The behavior of the Shaver Lake Dinky Creek watchers was decidedly different from most reports from hunters in that the 2 Sasquatch apparently knew what the rifle meant, even though the 2 hunters did not acknowledge their presence. There are reports of vocalizations in that region and a number of recent sightings of varying color description, making Janus conclude there might be a diverse population in that region. Janus also noted in his report that neither Broderick nor Dakova bagged a deer that trip. In fact, Broderick said he never spotted one, and even that was unusual. Update December 29, 2012. Mossmanko 253 wrote December 28, 2012, that he and his girlfriend were riding around looking at property in the Shaver Lake area when they decided to pull over and break out sandwiches at the dead end of Dorabella Road. He looked up as he saw a woman with him, cried out, "Look, look," and saw a very strange sight. Heading back into the far side of the trees was a man in a furry costume. He didn't report it because he thought it was a joke until he read this page and decided to report it as a possible Bigfoot sighting. That occurred on September 15, 2012. In hindsight, the witness said what he thought was a man in a costume was much too tall to be a joke. This was about 12:30 on a Saturday afternoon. We were parked eating chicken sandwiches and sharing a Diet Pepsi when this happened. My lady friend didn't think it was a costume, but some kind of creature, because the furry part was reddish and long fur down its back and not like a hooded costume. If this was a Bigfoot the couple saw, it brings the sighting total around Shaver Lake to 5 in 2012. Update. Shaver Lake missing hiker Larry Kahn, a Los Angeles-based attorney who worked at Pulcinelli Shugart, has not been found as of March 31, 2013. The search for the resident of Pacific Palisades was suspended in November 2012 after no trace of the man was found other than his car. Update. Hiker Matthew Hansen has been found, but no details. A report came in January 2013, but the sighting took place back in 1998. A cabin owner near Shaver Lake, California, reported hearing a pack of coyotes yipping and chirping away at something. Walking over to his window, he saw a Bigfoot carrying some kind of large feathered bird in its hand, walking up the road towards his place on Sweetgrass Road. The coyotes were jumping up, trying to bite whatever it was the creature was carrying. He called to his wife and son, and they also saw what it was, and it walked off through the trees down the dirt trail, which was later paved. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Hope you enjoyed.